Shalom, family. Welcome back to the Semitic Jew channel. This is the channel where we examine scripture, history, and modern claims using logic, primary sources, and disciplined reasoning. Not tradition, not any European philosophy, or emotions, or even cultural assumptions. Today, I'm going to continue my New Testament Israelite series, and we're going to arrive now, finally, at the book of 1 Peter. So 1 Peter is a letter that was written to Israelites who were living scattered among the nations, dealing with pressure, misunderstandings, and even sometimes outright hostility. So this letter is about our identity and our endurance. Peter is reminding Israelites who we are and how we are supposed to live, being surrounded in a society that does not share our covenant values. So let's break it down. First of all, we need to address who was First Peter written to. Peter begins the letter by addressing the strangers scattered throughout Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. So he starts off with that in 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1. Those regions that were part of the Roman world were not occupied by Europeans. The Romans were Europeans. The Israelites were not. The Israelites, our forefathers, are black people that were living in those lands. So the people that Peter is writing to, they are ethnic Israelites that are living in dispersion as second-class citizens. So, of course, this is sometimes called the diaspora. So they were not living in their homeland. They were living among foreign cultures, foreign laws, and foreign expectations. So Peter writes to strengthen them. The theme of the book is obviously living holy in exile, essentially. One of the central themes of this message in 1 Peter is very simple, which is just because you live among the nations does not mean you adopt their values. So Peter writes, but as he which hath called you is holy, speaking of God, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation. That's 1 Peter 1:15. So holiness here is not about isolation, because we have to live amongst other nations that despise us. It is about our discipline and our identity. We have to keep those as treasures for our posterity. So the Israelites were supposed to live differently, not because they were better, or not because we are better in the sense that we have biological innate traits that are superior, although there is evidence of that, but because God has set us apart to be his chosen people, a holy people. And so that language is one of the most famous passages in 1 Peter. And it is, ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people. That's 1 Peter 2 verse 9. So Peter is not inventing a new language. He is not inventing a new religion either. He is quoting the language that originated, or that was originally given to our ancestors, found in the Torah in Deuteronomy chapter 7. So this is covenant language. Again, no evidence of a new religion. Peter is reminding Israelites that even though they are scattered, even though our forefathers were scattered in those regions, they are still carrying the same identity and responsibility as they did in past time. So being in captivity, being dispersed, did not cancel the covenant that God made with us. There's no such thing as replacement theology. Moreover, suffering and misunderstanding is another theme, another major theme in 1 Peter. 1 Peter is all about suffering. That's a major theme. Peter repeatedly tells his audience not to be surprised when we face pressure or accusations, because he says, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. So because we're going to go through persecution, we're going to receive unfair wages being third class citizens. We're going to be persecuted on the basis of our skin color. We're going to be persecuted on the basis of the fact that we call ourselves Israelites. No, you're sub-Saharan. No, you're West African. No, you're this, you're that. So we're going to be persecuted, but think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you. That's 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12. So living differently will attract criticism. In fact, you might even get fired because you want to keep the Sabbath or you want to keep the high holy days. You're going to receive some persecution when you keep the commandments. Now, if you're practicing Christianity, you won't have an issue because you can work on the weekend. You can work wherever you want. There's no rest, no Sabbath. There's no keeping of the commandments. You can celebrate Christmas, whatever. None of that. You're not going to be persecuted with those things because it's according to their calendar. It's according to their belief system. It's not according to Scripture. So Peter's advice is not retaliation. Don't retaliate. His advice is discipline and integrity. So the goal is that even though critics will eventually have to admit that the behavior of the faithful is honorable, they'll have to eventually admit that when they don't want to. So leadership and responsibility is also spoken about to leaders within the Israelite community. He tells elders to guide the people, not for money, not for power. So where is that happening in the community? We have churches, we have synagogues, we have other circles where they are making a profit, taking collection off of the people, earning an unfair wage, and not for power, not for taking advantage of people, lording over them, and making them feel small because you're the pastor, the preacher, the teacher, the rabbi. None of those things. The heathen do those things. But instead, our elders, and in particular our women as well, are to guide and are to be genuine. So out of their genuine responsibility, what does Peter say? Feed the flock of God, which is among you, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. That's 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 2. So leadership in our covenant community was not built on exploitation. But look at the nations. The heathen nations have exploited it and called it religion and have used it against our people. And now our people are using it against our people. Imagine that. It was supposed to be stewardship, not a way to take advantage of helpless people. So the closing message in 1 Peter is this. Peter closes the letter with encouragement. He reminds the people, the Israelites, that the pressure that we are experiencing is not unique. Other Israelites around the world are facing the same struggles. And he tells us to remain sober, disciplined, watchful. We got to do all of those things because our identity must be protected, especially now that we know it. So the book of 1 Peter teaches that the Israelites living in dispersion must remember our covenant identity, which is to live holy even among foreign cultures, endure suffering without abandoning our discipline or to get tired. Moreover, maintaining our integrity. Don't get frustrated. Yes, it's okay to be angry, but what you do with that anger matters. So maintain our integrity under the pressure that we are experiencing from other nations and support one another as a community. That's what we need to do. We need to start there. So Peter's message is simple but powerful. Even in exile, the covenant identity remains. And here's the closing message. If this summary helped clarify the book of 1 Peter, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to hear deeper conversations about history, scripture, and biblical reasoning, make sure you also check out the Semitic Jew podcast that you can find on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast, where we expand many of these topics in longer form discussions. So until the next one, family, shalom.